but I also want to just talk for a minute about the COVID-19 cases. You have heard me talk to the board about reporting on these cases, and the board receives a weekly report that summarizes any positive cases. They also receive an alert on the date that I have a confirmation of a positive case. At this point, since we've closed the school district for fourth quarter, we've had a total of 13 cases statewide since the start of the summer or the end of last quarter. There were 12 of those cases are on Oahu and 1 on Kauai. And then over the course of the summer, the DOE, just to put this in context, had 8,400 students on our campuses for in-person instruction that did either full face-to-face or some kind of blended learning approach, and staff who supported them. After summer school ended, our campuses were closed for the public until teachers returned to school in late July for their training and readiness for school reopening. So there's been a heightened level of disclosures been happening across the world, across our states, certainly across here in Hawaii. We will continue to provide reporting, being certainly cognizant of our responsibility to both FERPA laws, which is the Family Education Rights and Privacy Act, and HIPAA privacy rules that are in place, where we will not be disclosing names of individuals or anything that makes information identifiable. And so we will certainly honor our employee and families' privacy rights. With that in mind, we will still be providing information that comes from contact tracing that the Department of Health engages in to make sure that if there are concerns about potential exposure, that those individuals, whether it's within a department or whether it's within a school or region, that they get notified so that we ensure that individuals who need to know that information are notified quickly. And so we do have that process in place, and we work with the Department of Health on those matters. We do have a consistent protocol for notifying our school communities of any health and safety threats, and we will continue to do so. Those protocols have been in place for years, whether it was the case of mumps or whether it's some widespread other matter. We have protocols that we use to in working with the Department of Health and notifying the public. So we'll continue to do the same here. We have an internal notification process. We also, in addition to the external notification process, because that's what then generates the cleaning and sanitation of school facilities, informing of impacted staff, families, and vendors. As with all COVID cases, the Department of Health is the lead agency in terms of notifying individuals who are possibly exposed to the virus, and we rely on them as health experts charged with protecting public health. In cases involving a school or DOE office, if it rises to a level requiring immediate broader notification to the public, the Department of Education will respond and not delay in responding to its immediate constituents to ensure that there is speedy action. I will also mention that I've made a request to the Department of Health to consider assigning a team of contact tracers specifically to pre-K-12 education. While the request is for the DOE, we are the largest state agency. We have 180,000 students and thus impact many families across all of our islands. And we have 40,000 full-time and part-time employees. And so we have a very, very broad reach. And so I've made a request to the Department of Health to consider assigning a team of contact tracers to work specifically with the Department of Education so that my 15 complex area superintendents and the assigned contact tracers know each other, know the variations and the unique conditions of each of our complex areas, some more rural, some more urban, some with more non-English speakers than others, which requires different levels of support, and so forth. Just having a team approach and an expert team that's working with the Department of Education and or all of K-12 education, including our private schools, which I think all of us are needing the same thing. And so I'm waiting for a response to that request at this time. With that, I will stop there and see what questions you have for me.
Okay, up next we have Annalisa from KITV. Go ahead, Annalisa.
Yes, hi. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yep, can hear you.
Okay, hi, Superintendent. So I wanted to find out if you can give a reaction to some of the claims made by HSTA that, for example, there was that they believe there's a case on Hilo, but according to your report, there's none on the Big Island. So I wanted to find out if there's any truth to that.
Yeah, so again, Annalisa, thank you for the question. We report on information on positive cases related to students and our employees. There will be situations where there may potentially be a positive case that impacts a family member, and that does not align with our kuleana to report on students and employees. And so the Hilo situation is actually a family member situation. And so until we have the appropriate information and know fully whether that is within our scope of reporting, unless it's a student or an employee, we will not be reporting on it. That is for the Department of Health to report on.
Up next, we have Lisa Kubota. And just as a heads up, since Suvan asked, we're going in order of when your RSVP was received. Okay, Lisa, go ahead.
Thank you. Why is the DOE only releasing complex area cases instead of specific names? And do you feel that besides, the board and your notification to them, that parents should have some information ahead of perhaps picking up packets or sending their child to campus for learning platform discussions starting next week, Monday?
So Lisa, I think you are asking why we're doing complex level reporting and not school level reporting. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so Lisa, the parents of impacted schools, they get a notification. So again, it's targeted notification for who needs to know because they are impacted. We are not doing broad brush reporting at this time. If the situation changes where there is specific guidance about how the DOE should do this from the Department of Health, right now, the Department of Health is responsible for its reporting. We do not want to misreport, and we also do not want to violate anyone's FERPA or HIPAA rights. We would never disclose a name. That is a HIPAA violation. And we cannot disclose, just like we would not disclose that someone has, has anything else, any other health situation that they're dealing with. That is not a right of the Department of Ed to disclose anyone's health information. So again, we're trying to report at a level that allows the public to understand what is the case situation, positive case situation in the DOE by region. So there is that level of information, and further details really need to be provided by the Department of Health. There are individuals that might release that information on their own. Again, it's not appropriate for the DOE to further disclose or even reiterate what an individual may have personally disclosed about their own situation. Again, that can be constituted as a HIPAA violation.
Up next, we have Jen Boniza, KHON. Go ahead, Jen.
Do you know how many staff are being quarantined right now because of this? And is that possibly going to impact school opening up next week?
I don't know offhand how many are doing or have asked for a voluntary quarantine. We would, there are different situations, whether it's a staff member who has said, well, I think I may be positive. I'm not sure. I'm waiting for results, or I'm going to go to the doctor. And so, certainly we would not discourage anyone from taking some of those active steps, and we would not be necessarily collecting that information at the state level, so I wouldn't know that. In terms of reopening, again, there is, at this point, we've had very, very outstanding, actually, attendance from our teachers and staff and leaders in our trainings, in this last 9 days of training. So if those last 9 days of training attendance are an indication, and they should be, since they are fully engaged, we don't expect anything other right now than what we are seeing trending, that we will have some folks who will be concerned and have to leave for a sick day to go get tested, et cetera. The distance learning also provides, an added set of time and opportunity to really see how the first few weeks go and how the next few weeks statewide go in terms of the precautions that have been taken by our county mayors and our governor to take some additional steps to try to again change the curve on recent cases. And so the first few weeks of school, we'll be watching that very carefully. Right now, until we actually fully open and are instructing, I'm not going to know if there are some things that look or start to trend differently until we're actually in action. But if I'm looking at my attendance at training, which we've had, again, we're on our second full week of training. We've had very good attendance, and I just appreciate everyone being on board and being ready to be at the schoolhouse door, whether that schoolhouse door means via distance learning or whether they're a provider that's going to be providing in-person support to our high-need students. Right now, everyone's getting ready, and so I look forward to having everyone there on that first day.